A young African boy loses his family to war and joins a guerrilla group to survive as a child soldier. That's why today, Beast of No Nation. If you enjoy the videos, support the channel by liking, subscribing, and enabling notifications. It's free and really helps me grow. Now let's get started. This is Agu's story, a poor boy seeking ways to entertain himself. His country is at war, so school's closed. He always plays with his friend Dick, who is very talented and can bring our protagonist's ideas to life for fun. Agu lives in a neutral zone, so refugees and friendly Nigerian soldiers are always arriving. His mother works hard to feed them and is devoted to her children. His father once taught at the school, but now he helps refugees. He has an older brother who just cares about looking good and finding a girlfriend. Many times they both play extreme pranks on each other, but even so, they are a very close family who usually go to church every week. One afternoon, Agu and his brother are shocked when a strange woman accuses their parents of stealing her land. On the way home, the older brother tells their father what happened and that he offered part of his land to the woman, but she refused. Because of the war, the village has problems with electricity and many water outages. Things get more complicated when the military ousts politicians and the war escalates. This increases the military presence in the village. The citizens decide to hold an emergency meeting and quickly agree that the women and children should go elsewhere to be safe. Meanwhile, the men will stay to defend their land. But Agu's mother refuses to leave alone with 3 boys and argues with her husband. Luckily, the older brother manages to distract our protagonist and make him feel better. The next day, chaos erupts as everyone in the village tries to escape. A taxi driver reluctantly agrees to take Agu's mother and her baby, leaving no other option. The father tells his wife he'll join her in the city soon. But Agu doesn't want to be separated from her, and in his desperation, he tries to run after her to stop her, but he can't. This moment starts his complicated story, as he loses his family home just days later. Next, the boy, his brother, and father flee the crossfire between the warring sides. Luckily, they find shelter in an abandoned place as the fighting continues. Some soldiers find them and mistake them for rebels, despite Agu's father's attempt to explain. To clarify, the officer brings in the woman from earlier. She prefers to say that she doesn't know them and accuses them of being rebels. Then they are all sentenced to death. The father tells the kids to run, and as they do, the man and the other prisoners are killed. Both brothers run toward the forest, but after a few meters, the older brother dies. Agu is completely shocked, and despite this, he has to keep running in order to survive. Hours later, the boy gets into another conflict and is captured by guerrilla boys who take him to the commander. There we meet another boy named Strika, who takes credit for having found him. To the commander, the boy is very dangerous and could attack any time. He interrogates him, and Agu says the army killed his family. The man says he'll train him in his guerrilla so he can get revenge on them. That's why he must obey all orders. It's his only way to survive. The group then journeys to the camp. Upon arrival, we see all guerrilla members indoctrinated to a single goal. Strika will guide our protagonist. On day 1, the boys bother him and deny him food. Soon after, they start training new members to use long guns. They are forced into hard labor and indoctrinated against the military government, persuading them to retaliate for the harm done to their families. In addition to this, the commander also motivates them to take the riches from the men in power in order to get compensation for everything they've been through. Training continues that day, and the children are brought to participate in the ash ritual. Afterwards, they have to go through a path of boys who hit them with wooden sticks, and those who don't make it are killed. They are also buried so that they have the sensation of being reborn. And he shoots very close to them to make them understand that they are blessed to continue living and to be part of a group that performs this kind of rituals. A few days later, the commander orders the camp destroyed before moving, leaving no trace. And at dawn, they begin the new journey. Agu observes closely before being sent on his first undercover mission with another comrade. Some smoke cigarettes and use drugs to prepare for the attack. It turns out that they are about to carry out an ambush with war weapons, starting a big confrontation that they end up winning. They search their victim's belongings and find one is still alive. The commander orders Agu to kill him by stabbing a large knife into his head. At first, Agu is paralyzed, but then the chief reminds him that he is the one responsible for his father's death, and that's when our protagonist gathers the courage to do it. In this scene, Strika joins him, and together they end the stranger's life. Because of this, Ego feels awful, knowing killing is the worst sin. While analyzing the situation, he receives a weapon as a reward, making him an official guerrilla fighter. With the cars they just stole, they manage to travel many kilometers. And at times we see that the kids take the opportunity to have some fun in their own way. Before the confrontation, the commander teaches the kids to use binoculars to watch the attack on the enemies. He orders them to invade the bridge, and they quickly succeed with little effort, though several soldiers die. That's why before moving forward, they say goodbye to them. And later, Strike takes our protagonist to the commander's office, talking with his allies about their recent victory. In this private conversation, Agu tells him that he is a blessed boy for being able to receive his orders. The chief tells him he has leadership talent but must also follow orders, just as the chief follows the supreme commander. He also informs him of the next steps for the upcoming mission, which is in his mother's city, and he asks him to keep the secret about the drugs he is using. But unfortunately, he also abuses him, telling him that this is a way of taking care of him. When Strake sees him leave the office, he tries to make him feel better, because he knows very well what happened, since he has also been through that situation. Even so, Agu still feels bad, so one of his older companions cuts his forehead. He sprinkles some of his drug to alter his emotions. The next attack is imminent. This time, it takes place in a nearby village, where they kill everyone they find, including the innocent residents of the place. Yu is still affected by drugs, so his perception is somewhat distorted. Even so, he continues with his work, and in one of the houses they raid, he finds a woman hiding with her daughter in the closet. When he sees her, our protagonist hugs her desperately, believing she is his mother, but when he comes to his senses, he starts yelling at her, calling her a witch for having deceived him. The younger gorillas beat the girl to death while the older ones abuse her mother. When Agu realizes this, he starts to feel very bad because he has also been a victim of that, so he decides to shoot her to end her suffering. Later, the Supreme Commander orders the commander to his office for a special event. Upon arrival, the team is welcomed by the delegate and led to a waiting room where another man in a suit awaits a meeting. As the hours pass, the delegate finally calls the gorillas, but only takes them to another waiting room with more comfortable seats so they can wait for their turn. The commander sleeps until morning when the meeting starts. The Supreme Commander greets everyone and invites them to eat while continuing his conversation with the commander and lieutenant. He tells the leader it's not time for the big move and that he's decided to replace him. His battalion will now be led by the landowner, but despite his demotion, he will remain on the security committee. The group leader gets upset about this and asks for payment in exchange for his guys. But when he gets a negative response, he decides that he will spend one last night with his whole troop to say goodbye, and he doesn't care what Commander Supremo thinks about it. His plan is to take him to a dating spot where the commander and landowner quickly find company. Everyone goes to have fun while Ego and Strike stay at the reception drinking beers for hours until something unexpected happens. It turns out that the landowner has been shot. The girl with him claims he accidentally shot himself while playing with his gun, but the man insists someone else did it. Because of this, the commander starts to believe that an order is being carried out to eliminate his man, and that's why he orders the girl and the club owner to be killed. Hours later, the landowner tells Agu their efforts were in vain. And later, the commander calls him in to remind him that he shouldn't trust anyone else because it's a very dangerous time. At his funeral, we hear the chief is ready to keep fighting without obeying the Supreme Commander's orders. So the whole group leaves and they quickly start getting attacked at the most unexpected moments. Many of their comrades die within hours. In one of those conflicts, his friend Strika can't keep running anymore since he's badly injured. The protagonist, exhausted, decides not to leave him and carries him on his back. Unfortunately, in a short time, the boy dies, and Agu has no choice but to leave his body in the forest, covered with plants. Later, the landlord asks him to find more ammunition as a favor. Along the way, our protagonist notices many companions are injured, heavily drugged, or weak. It turns out that the group has run out of bullets, out of supplies, and many keep dying every day. The commander says things were meant to be different, and, having treated him like a son, must now protect him like a father. At that moment, another one of the guerrillas comes over to tell him that he has decided to leave, since it's impossible to survive in this place. Hearing this, the others join him, and together they rebel. Agus initially threatens them with weapons, as the commander says they'll be nothing and have no future without him. But this only convinces our protagonist to change his mind. Unable to stop them, the chief kicks them out of his camp, shouting the military will imprison them, but they ignore him. After hours of walking, the boys are surprised by the military and surrender. They are then taken to a shelter, given food and hope for help. While there, his companions have fun with various games, but Agu can't separate himself from the trauma of everything he has experienced. He knows he'll be here a long time, haunted at night by memories of the victim's screams. Meanwhile, the old landowner appears weary of the shelter and often discusses escaping to rejoin the army. The worst part is he leaves with another boy, despite warnings from the others. The therapist encourages the protagonist to open up about his traumas, but he feels uneasy because she treats him like a child. It's harder for him to talk to her because his story makes him sad, and he's tired of it. We're unsure how much time passes, but Agus eventually connects with his classmates and enjoys small moments. He manages to recover from everything he's been through. This was Beast of No Nation. Remember to comment which movies you want next, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos.